The story of human life is the story of the human mind. The human mind is designed to observe, to think, to learn, and to accumulate knowledge and understanding. As our minds accumulate more knowledge and understanding, we are able to live longer and improve the quality of our lives. As we gain more knowledge and understanding about the world in which we live, our worldview changes. We used to believe that the earth was flat because our eyes couldn't see the curvature of the earth. We used to believe that the earth was the center of the universe. We used to believe in all kinds of gods and goddesses that ruled the earth and our lives. As our knowledge and understanding improve, so does our worldview. Our level of knowledge and understanding determines our level of consciousness, and our level of consciousness determines how we live and how we interact with each other. It seems strange that human beings have such a long history of killing each other, stealing from each other, and generally hurting each other. But that's what happens at lower levels of consciousness. When we are living in lower levels of consciousness, we don't see any connection between ourselves and others. We are almost totally self-centered and self-serving. We evaluate others based on what they can do for us or how much of a threat they are to us. In this state of mind, it seems logical and appropriate to plunder, rape, and kill. There are no feelings of guilt or remorse because there is no sense of connection to others. As our level of consciousness rises, so does our sense of connection to others. This changes how we perceive others and how we interact with others. It is our sense of connection to others that generates feelings of empathy and sympathy, and we begin to feel a growing desire to help others who are in need. Indeed, this is the primary sign of an advanced civilization, and it begins to emerge when there is a higher level of consciousness, knowledge, and understanding. As our level of consciousness rises, we become more and more conscious of the oneness of life. This consciousness of the oneness of life is the enlightenment of the human mind. It marks a major transition in human life because it changes how we think, how we feel, how we live, and how we interact with others. It changes both our worldview and our sense of self. The oneness of life does not just mean that individual lives are connected to each other and that we should help each other. This is just the first level of our awakening to the oneness of life. As we continue to understand more about the oneness of life, we come to a major shift in our understanding. We realize that there are no individual lives. We realize that all life is the same life, the life of life itself. As this becomes more and more clear to us, we finally understand the one fundamental truth of life. Life is not created. life itself is the Creator. Until we awaken to this great truth of life, our worldview and our sense of self are derived only from what we perceive. What do we perceive? We perceive that our life is the life of our body. Our sense of self is attached to our body. We perceive that we are an individual, separate life. We perceive that we are living in a world that is full of individual, separate lives. We perceive a world of differences and separation. We perceive a world of birth, change, and death. In order to get to the truth of life, which is the oneness of life, we need to awaken beyond our perceptions. Things are not always what they appear to be. The world is not, in fact, flat. The sun does not, in fact, revolve around the earth. There is, actually, no water in a mirage, even though it looks like it. A human mind has the potential to awaken beyond its perceptions. And when this happens, we feel that we are awakening out of a dream state. In truth, we are just awakening out of a lower level of consciousness. We all have the experience of being lost in thought for a few minutes. This happens to us quite frequently. This is also known as daydreaming. Lower levels of consciousness are very much like a dream state because our attention is lost in our perceptions, experiences, thoughts, and emotions. We are unconscious of the oneness of life. We are unconscious of our true life, which is the life of life itself. Higher levels of consciousness allow our attention to free itself from our perceptions, experiences, thoughts, and emotions. Our attention begins to seek an understanding of the bigger picture of life. Where did the universe come from? What is the purpose and meaning of it all? Are we just the biology of our body? Or is there something more to our life? Higher levels of consciousness seek the truthful answers to these fundamental questions.